So welcome back. We're going to work with adding and subtracting fractions. Some of the basic steps to adding and subtracting fractions is, one, you have to have a common denominator to make it meaningful. We're going to use what we call that least common denominator. We also want to make an addition problem out of these. Makes it a lot easier. And once you get that all done, all you basically have to do is add the numerators and keep that denominator the same. And in the end, your answer should always be what we call lowest terms. So simplify your fraction if necessary. So let's look at this 9/5 and this -4/3. Notice right now we don't have a common denominator. So again, I look at my denominators 3 and that 5. What I want to do is find a common multiple. I usually list the first 5. If I can't find the first 5, I just multiply the two denominators together. That will always give me one. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We're looking for a common denominator. I do see a 15. So 15 is my common denominator. So come over here and rewrite the fractions with 15s as my new denominator. And we also note that since I'm renaming the fraction, I had to multiply that 5 by 3. It took 3 5s to get 15. I also got to multiply the top by 3, so that changes that to 27 fifteenths. How many 3s did it take to get 15? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 3s gave me 15. And I got to multiply the top by 5 as well. So 3 times 5 is 15. -4 times 5 will give me a -20. And this is already an addition problem. So what we have to do is add the numerators together. So if I have a 27 and a -20, remember that's integers, positive negative numbers. So if I have income and debt, remember debt takes away from income, so I'd end up with 7, and this would just be a 7/15 as the result. And 7/15, there's no like factors to divide out, so that's considered simplified. So let's look at 12 minus 13/8. So again, I'm going to write this as fractions, make that 12 over 1 minus 13/8. Now I need a common denominator. Since there's just a 1 and 8 there, it looks like 8 would be my common denominator. So I'd make an 8 there. So this fraction doesn't change at all. That's just 13/8. But you had to multiply this by an 8, which in turn I had to multiply 12 times 8. 12 times 8 would be 96. And this is subtraction. And what we can do though is I can change this subtraction to two terms. This term and then a -13 over there like that. So I could have 96/8 and -13/8. 96 minus 13 would give me 83. So 83/8 would be my result. And since it's more positive than negative, I can leave it like that. If you wanted to, you could change it to a mixed number. 8 into 83. 8 goes to 8 one time. 8 doesn't go to 3, so I use a 0 as a placeholder, so you'd have 10 and 3/8. So 83/8 or 10 and 3/8. And you can kind of verify 8 times 10 is 80 plus 3 is 83/8, so those are the same thing. So either one of those would be acceptable. So here my denominators are the same. I'm searching out a common denominator. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I'm looking for a common denominator. I see a 6 is in common. So my new denominator is going to be a 6. So I had to multiply this 3 by 2, which means I got to multiply -4 by 2, which makes a -8. And I had to multiply it by 3, so I got to multiply -3 by 3. That would give me a -9. Again, we want to make it an addition problem, and we do know that a negative and a negative kind of implies then that this is going to be a positive. So now you have -8/6 plus 9/6, and that would just give me then a result of 1/6. 1/6 would be your result. negative 3 and 3/5 minus 4 and 2/5. It's a good idea to make these fractions to start with. So this is going to be negative 15, negative 18/5 minus then 22/5. 4 times 5 is 20 plus 2, 22/5. So this is the same thing as adding a negative. So it's still going to be integer math here. So a negative 18 and a negative 22, that's debt and debt, which means we lose a total of 40. So it's going to be negative 40 over 5. But notice that 5 does go into 40 evenly, so my final answer would actually be a negative 8. So remember, if you want to reduce fractions, though, you can break that 40 down using prime factorization. Remember, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11 are your prime numbers. 2 goes into 40 20 times, 2 goes into 20 10 times, 2 goes to 10 5 times, and 5 goes into 5 1 time. So if I wanted to, I could have rewrote that as a negative, and then a 2 times a 2 times a 2 times a 5 over a 5. The 5's would divide out, and then you would just get back to your negative 8 that way. So you can also divide out what we call like factors. And the prime factorization is a tool that you could use there to reduce fractions. So let's look at this example. I have negative 2 and 5/6, take away a negative 1 and 1/4. Let's make these improper fractions. So 6 times 2 is 12, plus 5. That's negative 17/6. Minus then 4 times negative 1, negative 4, plus that negative 1 there would be a negative 5/4. Got to search out a common denominator. So 4 and a 6, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Looks like my common denominator would just be a 12. So I can change this to a 12 here, minus a 12 here. I had to multiply by 2, that's going to make it negative 34. And I had to multiply by 3, that's going to make a negative 15. And we have those two negatives again, which makes a positive. So negative 34 plus 15. Debt and income, looks like we're going to drop down to, what, 19? So negative 19 twelfths. And we can leave that answer as an improper fraction if we like to. Okay? But if we want to change the Tibbitt's number, you could divide 12 into 19. 1 time, remainder 7, so 1 and 7 twelfths. So you could say negative 1 and 7 twelfths as an answer as well. Okay. So again, if you're adding or subtracting fractions, the keys are getting that common denominator first, make an addition problem, add those numerators but keep that denominator, and then simplify fractions. Those are your key strategies there. Stay tuned.